graders, you just listened to Mrs. Arnsdorf read a story called Charlie Anderson, and you were supposed to be writing down those 2 questions that you have about Charlie Anderson. And before you even listen to me read Six Dinner Sid, I want you to check your paper. Did you write your 2 questions down? If not, I want you to pause this video and I want you to finish those 2 questions. If you do have your 2 questions ready, I'm going to have you do the same thing for this story, Six Dinner Sid. It looks like we have another cat on this story. Maybe you need to pause right now. Do you have a question that you would like to ask yourself, or a question that you would like to write down on your paper right here on Six Dinner Sid in this box 1 and 2 that maybe you want to ask yourself before the story even starts? If so, you can pause it right now, but if not, I'm going to go ahead and start reading Six Dinner Sid. Be thinking about what kind of questions you could ask yourself. Six Dinner Sid. Sid lived at number 1 Aristotle Street. He also lived at number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 6. Sid lived in 6 houses so that he could have 6 dinners. Each night he would slip out of number 1, where he might have had chicken, into number 2 for fish, on to number 3 for lamb, liver at number 4, fish again at number 5, ending at number 6 with beef and kidney stew. Now, 2nd graders, I don't know about you, but some questions are really sparking in my mind, so if you have any, make sure you pause and write them down. Since the neighbors did not talk to each other on Aristotle Street, they did not know what Sid was up to. They all believed that the cat they fed was theirs, and theirs alone. But Sid had to work hard for his 6 dinners. It wasn't easy being 6 people's pet. He had 6 different names to remember and 6 different ways to behave. When he was being sacramouche, Sid put on swanky airs. As Bob, he had a job. He was naughty as Mischief and silly as Sally. As Scooty, who he smooched, but as Schwartz, he had to act rough and tough. All this work sometimes wore Sid out, but he didn't care, as long as he had his 6 dinners. And besides, he liked being scratched in 6 different places and sleeping in 6 different beds. Do you have any questions going on about this story so far, 2nd graders? I sure do. In fact, life on Aristotle Street was just about perfect for Sid until, that would be a great place to stop and maybe ask yourself, until what? Let's see. One cold, damp day, he caught a nasty cough. The next thing he knew, he was being taken to the vet. Poor Sid, he was taken not once, not twice, but 6 times. He went with 6 different people in 6 different ways. The vet said Sid's cough wasn't nearly as nasty as it sounded, but to be on the safe side, he should have a spoonful of medicine. Of course, Sid didn't have just 1 spoonful of medicine. He had 6. I'm kind of wondering, why is he having 6? Maybe that's a question you should ask yourself. Now, one black cat does look much like another, but nobody, not even a busy vet, could see the same cat 6 times without becoming suspicious. Sure enough, when he checked in his appointment book, the vet found 6 cats with a cough, all living on Aristotle Street. So he called the owners at once. And, oh dear, Sid was found out. When they discovered what he had been up to, Sid's owners said he had no business eating so many dinners. They said in the future they would make sure he only had one dinner a day. But Sid was a 6-dinner-a-day cat, so he went to live at number 1 Pythagoras Place. He also went to live at numbers 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Unlike Aristotle Street, the people who lived on Pythagoras Place talked to their neighbors, so, right from the start, everyone knew about Sid's 6 dinners. And because everyone knew, nobody minded. Now, second graders, I am done with my story, 6 Dinner Sid, and I've got a lot of questions that maybe I thought of before, during, or after. So I want you to make sure that you write those down because it's not going to count. I'm not going to know you're having any questions if you don't show me that you wrote them down. Now, another thing that I want you to do, you can see in this bottom box right here, it says text-to-text connection. Mrs. Douglas taught you about text-to-text connections in your lesson earlier. And what a text-to-text connection is I want you to take this book, and I also want you to take the book Mrs. Arnsdorf read, Charlie Anderson, and I want you to take those two and make a text-to-text connection between the two of them and write it down in that box. And then second graders, you will be done with this paper and be able to move on to your next skill.